part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today, you're welcome. We are continuing our X-Men coverage with X2: X-Men United, a.k.a. This Is Us, mutant style. Yeah, thank you so much for indulging me. Once again, we were watching all X-Men movies all summer long because there's not much from the MCU to talk about. But never fear, I have amazing guests, as always, joining us live from somewhere in the city of Los Angeles. My first guest, they are a comedian and, most importantly, a man about town. Please welcome to your ears, Dom Johnson.
Boop, boop, boop. Dom Johnson. Brrr. Yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Griselda.
And that's the kind of commentary you can look forward to in this discussion of X2.
We're doing it, guys.
But never fear, joining the police officer from Police Academy is another comedian. I would call them an LA comedian, but apparently they were also in Chicago, and we were in Chicago at the same time, but we'd never met, and it still boggles my mind. But she's here now. She's a comedian, an actress, a producer, a bon vivant, a male Renaissance male. Please welcome to your ears, Chrissy Bruzek.
Hello, I'm a male Renaissance man, and that's who I am.
Oh, Chrissy,
Nice.
I do believe you've changed your name on the Zoom to The Phoenix.
Yes, this is my alter ego. I'm the Phoenix.
Whoa.
I can't control myself.
I have power, but it feels wrong to have this much power, so I'm going crazy.
Kill me. Me. You'll get it.
You'll get it.
They'll get it.
Everybody's
later.
so confused right now.
Yeah, I love how so many people have never
prelude.
seen X-Men 2, but they love listening to this podcast. They're like,
Yeah.
Damon's talking. We have to tune in.
Mhm. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, of course. And yeah, Chrissy, so like with the Phoenix of it all, like, do you have a relationship with X-Men? What is your relationship to this movie, this franchise, Jean Grey?
Yes, I fucking love X-Men so much. I loved X-Men since the animated series came out in the 90s, and like I wanted to be Rogue. I've always wanted to be the X-Men animated series Rogue because she's such a badass and she's so strong and she could fly and like taking other people's powers. She's so versatile and she's like so sassy too. And then the X-Men movies come out and she's just like
Sookie Stackhouse.
her light is gone. I'm like, who is this pussy? This is not the Rogue I remember.
Mhm.
And so I love X-Men because it's not like Captain America or like the showy superheroes. I feel like it's more gritty and just more. I was like, oh, these are a person that just gets powers. And I love the overall concept. I love the idea of X-Men. And
Oh yeah.
our assignment was to watch X2. I watched the first one and then I watched X2 and then I watched the third one yesterday. And then I'm gonna keep going because I was like, oh, I forgot how much I love these movies.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think my favorite character from this first round of X-Men is I love Jean Grey and I love Mystique. They are probably my favorite from these. Jean Grey is just so fucking awesome. I just like that how much she's just like burdened with these powers, and then she's just like, I can't control myself. Like I love that. And then Mystique's a fucking badass.
Never said a bad word about Mystique. I will.
Ever.
Well, let's discuss Jean as we go along.
I could go. I could like keep going. But
Okay.
you just stop me if you have a point. If we need to move on.
Well, I do also want to just throw it over to Dom Johnson. X2, X gonna give it to you. How are we feeling?
Look, man, I've been fucking with X-Men since I was a little kid. Had all the comic books, Executioner Song, Legion Quest. I know all the guys. You know what I mean?
Guys.
So when they came out with a movie, I was like, we have the technology. I'm going to see all my favorites. And then I was like, kind of bummed out that it was like the movie is good, but it's
Yeah.
like, where's all the extra like ancillary mutants? At least show them doing something. You know what I mean? That's what I wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it was a good movie.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I know what you mean, but we get some of that in like the school scene when they're like getting infiltrated. You get to see like little snippets of the
Kitty
kids.
Pryde and Colossus and whatnot. It was like Siren. I was very excited to see Siren, but it was let them do more. Let them fight the random bad guys. They just got guns.
Yeah,
and we all know that guns are bad, right?
And at the end of the day, that's what I want people leaving this podcast with. I feel you. Okay, heard. Let's dive in. Chrissy, your hand is raised.
I have one more thing. I acquired this a while ago from my mom's some boyfriend or something, but it's all these old X-Men. This thing is blurry. But I have all these like X-Men cards.
Hell yeah!
Like trader card, like playing cards. I'll have to show them to you in person. I don't know when they're from, but they're so fucking cool.
Oh, I love
it. It's like baseball cards, but for X-Men characters.
And are there like stats on the back of the card?
Yeah. So, yes.
I love this. Speaking of X-Men and their stats, let's talk about Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler. We start in the White House with this absolutely epic. I love this tour guide. I don't know why. Just maybe it's because I've seen this movie so much. I'm just like, we're not enemies. We should really be friends. And this is a quote from Abraham Lincoln, one of my favorites. I was like, go off, you fake ass queen. So we're in the White House, and then we're just slowly seeing Nightcrawler crawling around the place. Dom Johnson, initial thoughts as we begin.
Well, my initial thought was Nightcrawler has to see where he's going in order to, do his thing. And he's not seeing where he's going. And I was immediately kind of irritated because they mentioned it towards the end. Like, I have to see where I'm going. I'm like, it didn't matter at the beginning. What the fuck are we doing? But aside from that small nerd gripe, the shit was dope.
I mean, I think I have a
shit was fire.
I have a thought about that because we don't know he was under the mind control of William Stryker, so he didn't have that because we learned that it was his own limitation because he did end up jumping into fake Cerebro when Storm was like, don't forget to have faith. And maybe when he's under the mind control, he's not, because that was a rule that he implied and put on himself. You know what I mean? Like when he's under the mind control, he's free to kind of just go to the full extent that his powers can take him.
I still think he would get stuck in a wall. That's a movie I want to see. I want to see Nightcrawler get stuck in the wall and be like, fuck, I knew it. Goddamn X-Men. You tricked me. You made me do this. I didn't want to do it. I told you I couldn't do it. Now I'm a wall crawler.
I love it. For pacing, I think we had to forgo him getting stuck in a wall.
I get why they didn't go that way. But when I become king of Hollywood, we're going to get that version.
Damn. And what a hellscape that would be for all of us. Chrissy Bruzek, going over to you.
Yes. I was like, this is the way you start a movie. Like action, all this stuff, everything going on. Like what's happening? Who is this? Like, what is this thing that's flying around? Like, I mean, I watched all three movies and just, it makes me miss this era of action movies because watching them too, I was like, they don't feel, excuse me, as cheesy as they've become. I don't know what it is. Like there isn't as super like cheesy quips yet. So I don't know, but I was like, this is how you start a movie. Fun action. There's opera music. It's like so heightened and so dramatic. And you're like, what is going on? What's happening? I just like, and I mean, I love Nightcrawler because you think it's this creature that's attacking the White House and like killing people. And then you just end up feeling this like such sympathy for him. So White House. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was going to go to Natural History Museum next, but no, this is just White House. Yeah. I love this opening. I like Nightcrawler a lot.
Oh yeah. And that's so interesting that you're saying how we've kind of lost that in current superhero movies. Cause it made me think that I feel like in this like effort to fuse more like recognizable genres. You know, I think of like the Captain America movies that are like spy thrillers and stuff.
Mhm.
You know, we have to honor those kind of like beats and moments, but like this is you know, you're right. It's like a pure superhero thing of just trying to like figure out what is happening. And it's so fun to like watch back after seeing the whole thing because like, you know, it's Nightcrawler, but it is kind of
Mhm.
like, what is this purple bluish smoke going around?
Yeah.
It worked for
Um,
his character because he's very serious, but also the
Mhm.
movie I think overall was a little too serious. So I see what Chris like. Not everything needs to be Guardians of the Galaxy or fucking
Mhm.
Ragnarok, but also not everything needs to be dour. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Comic books were fun. At least there was like
Yeah.
fun characters, but
Well,
like you said, This Is Us. I was like, God damn it, that was the most apt fucking description of a goddamn X-Men movie.
Are you doing the Last Stand with a different group?
I am. I will be.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay, yeah.
Uh,
I was gonna say, well, Damon, you're not gonna talk about it separately.
Yeah.
Because I
We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline.
yeah, offline.
Before we leave the White House, I just want to give a shout out to truly my favorite character on this watch, Jackie. I don't think anyone remembers Jackie. Jackie is like the president's aide or assistant. Um, like when the attack happens, the Secret Service are like, we've been compromised. Jackie, leave. I just that made me laugh so much. They're just like,
Get the
secure
fuck
the
out of here,
president.
Jackie.
Jackie, just go home. Like
Yeah.
no secret exit for Jackie. Just like leave out the front door.
Yeah.
Jackie's
Um,
like, well,
Like completely vulnerable to attack.
yeah, there's no protection.
Jackie
for
don't matter.
or
Jackie
Jackie's
don't
so
matter.
important, they're like, you got to get out of here. There's a
Yeah.
mutant, and he's coming for the president. We need Jackie safe.
Mhm.
I mean,
know.
also when
Screw Jackie.
because Nightcrawler is like going through each room, and so like I love the tension building up too, where it's like, and then everyone's standing in like I love the shot where everyone's standing in the Oval Office or wherever they are, and it's
Mhm.
just a close up on the door, and you just hear banging and like punching and stuff, and then it stops, and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then he's like inside, and it's
Yeah.
yeah,
And he's
I love
great
that moment.
and great tail action. Like
Yeah.
like he was pulling people with the tail.
I love
Yeah.
shots. I love moments like that in movies where it's like you can hear what's happening, but you can't see it. It just makes it so much scarier.
Yeah. Love it. Let's I think we'll do a full Nightcrawler talk later when he's more fully introduced. But
Mhm.
the next scene, we're at Alkaline Lake where Wolverine is just kind of standing around. Any idea how much Chrissy, you watched all three, so like any idea how much time has passed between X-Men 1 and X-Men 2?
It doesn't feel like that long. Let's
Long enough
see.
for everyone to have a completely different haircut then.
Yeah, I mean, in real life, it was 3 years.
Yeah.
2000, 2003. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, everyone looks a little bit older, but I think I mean, it can't be that long.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he's just bopping around.
Yeah.
Because that's where Professor X sent him to. I love later when Magneto's like, yeah, Professor X thought you could figure this out on your own. I don't have that much faith in you. Because he goes there. Like, it's crazy how, like, that's where the movie ends and he's already there. Like, if he had just, I don't know, maybe Wolverine's not great as a detective.
I'm not gonna hear any Wolverine slander.
No, Wolverine.
Not in my presence. It's not happening.
Please, Don
Wolverine.
Johnson.
Look,
Yeah, what do you have to say about Wolverine?
he was the man when I was little, and he's still the man. And we'll probably get into it when you see all these ladies that he's like fawning over him and whatnot. Canonically, Wolverine is 300. It's 5'3", 300 pounds.
5'3".
And Harry is canon. He's that short.
Wow.
And Scott Summers is like 6 something, very like good looking guy, muscles, and Wolverine is like constantly taking his girl,
Yeah.
constantly.
Well, he's a bad boy.
And I don't even think he
bad.
like her, just pure disrespect. I'm
Well-
gonna do this.
I love that because my theory is that Wolverine and Cyclops are the true love story. But
Maybe I can see that.
That's hot.
well,
That's
I just think
hot as hell.
I'm like, man, Scott's really mad about someone he barely talks to. I feel like he
That's yeah.
Mhm.
Again, yeah. I'm sure we'll get into it. It was like, where does this?
Or Scott Summers is just
Where
a
does this
fucking
come from?
nerd.
Yeah, he may be wearing red glasses, but he's still wearing glasses.
Okay, just fact checking the Wolverine stats because I do have the player cards here. He
They came
is
back.
5'3" and 195 pounds.
195. Pre or
195.
post adamantium?
Post.
It's,
Ain't no way he got a whole metal body and 195 pounds. That's crazy.
It's lightweight alloy.
Fair enough.
well, I just want to say, podcast 616, we've been on the record of this. We love a short king. So thank you. to
Wait,
Wolverine.
did you know before he joined the X-Men, Wolverine worked as a top Canadian secret agent?
Yeah.
Mm,
So,
Yeah.
wow.
wow. And also, just a little, teaser for you mutant heads. We'll be doing Wolverine all July. So
Oh, nice.
we're gonna hit all those Wolverine movies. Chrissy Bruzek, we're now at the museum. Let's hit up this field trip.
Great.
What are you feeling? I feel like, is Jean the first one we see with like her powers glitching a little bit here?
Yes. So I also wanted to say the in the first movie, Jean Grey is like pretty chill, much more chill. She's got like her hair is kind of back, little loose. She's wearing glasses. She's wearing softer colors. And then we see her in the second movie. She's got like short, more bright red, flippy, like early 2000s hair. And she's wearing like a red shirt and a leather jacket. So it's like you're starting to see. I love X-Men. I'm like hearing myself talk.
No, please.
You see her like kind of slowly start to transform. Like she's just like something's off, something's starting to bother her. So yeah, in the museum, she starts hearing voices because she's telekinetic and she can hear people's thoughts. And so she starts hearing a bunch of people's voices and it's like overwhelming to her. So she kind of starts freaking out, like screams and stuff, and the museums start glitching. And like she's like, you're like, oh shit, what can this person do?
Yeah.
And then Cyclops, James Marsden, one of the most underrated actors. Like,
Talk about it.
Seeing him in this role as Cyclops, I'm just like, man, he was so utilized. He really is just like a stick with like glasses on. Like he's not even his full potential. And I mean, it was like 20 years ago, and you evolve as an actor, and I love the comedy stuff he's been doing lately. But I mean, like, man, yeah, I feel like he was typecast in this like
he plays Cyclops
pretty boy
perfect.
role.
You said he plays
Very
Cyclops
stoic.
perfectly.
Yeah, Cyclops is a nerd. He played him, I thought, accurate to the comics.
You think
Like
so?
a
'Cause
buzzkill.
I haven't read the comics.
He's just
okay.
no, you need to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Gene, I'm gonna sulk and be sad. While everybody else is trying to have a good time. Yeah.
Then great. Then he nailed it.
Everyone else is trying to have a good time, and also trying to keep the low profile. Mutants are about in the street. This movie has great callbacks. The fucking kid with the tongue, sticking like the lizard tongue out, that gets called back and then get introduced here in the museum. I want to talk about everyone's sleeves in this movie are insane. The women's sleeves, the sleeves,
the bell, like what do they call that?
Yeah, it's like bell bottoms, but for your sleeves. Like,
I don't know that I noticed that.
I don't know. I was just like, man, don't cook in that shirt.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's gonna catch fire.
You're gonna burn up. Iceman has to, put you out.
It was the style, but it felt like there was like a lot of like 70s influence in this, like in the wardrobe. Like there's that part where like Rogue gets Bobby's grandma's clothes or whatever, and it's like bell bottoms from the 70s. But I'm like, the whole movie feels very 70s to me. But let's go to my note said fire ice brain freeze. So we get introduced to the teen X-Men. Still no idea how the grade system works at the school for extraordinary students.
It's unclear.
Very unclear.
I don't really understand what their curriculum is. At one time they're learning physics, and then yeah. One time they're learning physics, and then another time they're like doing like staged combat, which makes more sense.
We get this teen thing, Bobby and Rogue with new character John, aka Pyro. Yeah, Dom Johnson, you seem like you were you hung with a rough crowd when you were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
did
I
you
did.
identify with this teen plot? Were you like, yeah, I like this little like love thing with like Rogue and Bobby, and then their friend John, who's just always third wheeling?
Like when it came to Rogue, when I was a kid with the movies and I mean not the movies but the TV shows, the animated series and whatnot, I was just like, Rogue is bad, but like you can't touch her. Never mind sex. Just you can't shake her hand.
Not
You
even high
can't get
five.
a little kiss. So it's like, yo, my man, you're Iceman. There's other women. She's made it very clear she don't really want to fuck with you because she don't want to like take your life force. Be cool with that.
Yeah.
Stop pushing up on Rogue and just be friends. I couldn't
Yeah.
get with that. It
Yeah.
seemed weird to me, and it still seems weird.
Yeah, Bobby has no plan. He keeps saying like we're working it out. Like how? Just by like, ooh, what if I just it's like he's dating an iron and he's like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
keep poking at it and see how long I can stay until it burns.
My hot take on Bobby, he
Please.
sucks. Bobby sucks. I think
Ooh.
Bobby's a baby. I think this Iceman is just like, oh, I can't touch my girlfriend. Oh, the pyro's so mean. Oh, I'm just like, come on, toughen up a little bit. Like Rogue wants like, she's into Wolverine. Rogue wants someone who's gonna like fight for her,
Yeah,
And Bobby's like,
yeah.
oh, we can't touch. So, and I'm fine with that. And I'm like, okay, come on.
Mhm.
maybe Wolverine just turns guys into haters.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the thing. Like if you don't have enough confidence in yourself, Wolverine is gonna turn you into a square.
It's
Yeah.
because they all know he's an alpha. He's an alpha. He's got those animal pheromones, and the
Mhm.
other men know it.
Yeah, that must be because there's like I forgot how much there's like animalistic qualities to Wolverine's mutation powers. Like
Mhm.
there's that scene where he can like hear people and he can like smell them. I always forget that like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he is like a
He's
full
always like
wolf. Yeah.
all of a sudden. And that's funny you mentioned that because the snipping thing doesn't really come up that much in the movie. And then all of a sudden the audio goes quiet. It's like
Mhm.
Remember, I can do this.
Don't forget.
It'll come back
Oh.
later.
I'm not
Yeah.
just a Wolverine because I'm hairy. Okay, so the teens are teening, and
the
then
teens.
Pyro lights someone on fire, which I'm like, why are these kids so dumb? Like, just that's why Pyro and Bobby are great friends. They're both so stupid. You're in
Yeah.
public
Yeah.
and you're gonna set someone on fire when you
But I
know
think
people
that's like
hate mutants.
to me that was accurate. The shit that going on with Iceman, like if you were 14, 15 or whatever, and
Mhm.
like some dudes was like pushing up on you and like you would set him on fire. He doesn't like he like burned him to death. You would like set him on fire a little bit. You're a teenager. Like think about the dumb shit you did. Now
Mhm.
you can manipulate fire.
Yeah.
Or
Just like singe their eyebrows or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
he did something. It
minimal.
was fun. It was a little thing to do.
Little thing to do, get a little ice power, and then Professor X. Truly, the only time I've been like, man, maybe I want this power. Just basically like freezes everyone's mind, so they stay in place. And I know from listening to the audio commentary that a lot of those actors were mimes and clowns because they could stay still.
Because they can stand still.
Mhm.
Oh, bro.
Did they go to French clown school? That's probably the only reason they know how to do that. Because they learned from an old French guy.
How
Oh,
else would you know?
here comes Chrissy's
to
clown
stand still.
diatribe.
Only
Chrissy, I
professional
said,
clowns know how
oh,
to
no.
stand perfectly still.
That was the logic they had when they made X2 back in 2003.
That's funny. That is such a cool moment, though,
Mhm.
because that's the first time you see that. You see Professor X like free, like have that much control. It's like you knew he was powerful, and then you're like he freezes like an entire like cafeteria of museum goers.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then you don't see that come back until the very end of the movie, but it's like, okay, what happened? Is someone freaking out? Is someone having a stroke? And then and then go ahead. It's cool.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say it helps to buy into the main I guess if hopefully MacGuffin's the right way to say it, but like the main threat is that he can, in this fake Cerebro that Logan Roy builds at Waystar Royco.
Oh my God, that reminds me. I really want to get a Waystar Royco hat. Is that too nerdy?
Not at all.
Do you have one?
Not yet. But Professor X, it just shows that how powerful he is, so that when it's time for him to like kill everyone with his brain, it's like, well, yeah, he's a very powerful mutant. My gosh, it is crazy. Michael, we're gonna go long. We're gonna go long. Just know that. Okay.
Look, this is important.
Because now
this is important work we're doing.
This is important.
This is my like thesis for the year. Is this podcast? This is my thesis project.
Please. Dom Johnson, since you don't watch Succession, what a reveal today. I guess we'll talk about William Stryker, just as he is.
It's the guy from Succession. That's the dad. That's the dad.
It's the dad.
That's
it's
right.
the dad.
Daddy.
How did you find Daddy Stryker? Was he striking for you?
I think Stryker was probably the best character in the whole movie.
Wow.
I think he was so accurate to the comics of just being like, fuck mutants. I hate them. Why do you hate them? Because they're mutants. So I want to get rid of them. Why do you want to get rid of them? Because they're mutants. What don't you get about this? Like, he's so single-minded, and he's just like, this is what I'm going to do. And he's so evil, and he just kept that. Evil. There's like no humanity to him. He played him perfectly. I think it was maybe not the best character, the best acted character in the whole movie, like by far. He was so believable. He was in a different movie than everyone else, it seems like.
I agree with that. I mean, Brian Cox is incredible. And like when Succession came out, I was like, I only ever knew him as Stryker.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, that's Stryker from X-Men 2, 20 years ago. But yeah, I mean, he's just so evil and like relishes in it. Like he loves it. He loves being such a prick and such like an asshole. Well, and so Damon, talk about how he's like introduced. Like, what's his role again? Like with the government.
He's with the government. I know that for sure. I mean, he's I feel like he's a general.
He's like a scientist, like some kind of general scientist or something.
I mean, I talk a lot about the villain's plans in these Marvel movies, these superhero movies, and I think this one is pretty rock solid. Of just he hates mutants because his son is a mutant and he couldn't cure him of that. Well, I guess he just hates mutants, but then his son turns out to be a mutant and he can't cure it, so he's like, well, I guess I'll just kill them all. He's a colonel.
Got it. And
so this idea of like using, I believe, the spinal fluid from his son to help mind control mutants, he then, that's like the liquid he squirts on the back of their...
didn't realize that's what that was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's like mining the mutant gene from his son and kind of like made it like an over-the-counter drug.
Whoa. Because when I made a note and I was like, Jason Stryker, like who? I was like, I couldn't remember who his mutant son was. I was like, it's not like the Archangel that comes later. I was like, it's not like, I couldn't remember because they're just, he says something like, like Jason, they bring up Jason Stryker, his son. And I'm like, gosh, like what happened to him? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then you find out later, but
what happened to his Nightcrawler let him get crushed by a building. Never forget.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Right. They just kind of leave. They just leave Jason behind. I'm like, well, sorry, Jason.
Can I point out one? I'm sorry, this is going to go in. Can I point out one other thing? So in the first movie, there's like a congressman or a senator who is like the evil person who wants also to like rid of all the mutants. Mm-hmm. And so then he dies, and then Mystique basically is in the government then pretending she's this congressman. And then in this second movie, I love that the congressman is still Mystique.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Man, she's just stuck being this old white guy in the Senate. And like, it must be so, she has to like sneak around and then also do Magneto's bidding.
Right. Well, Magneto's in prison, so he like.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're right.
So
She has a
she's
plan. She has a trajectory. Yeah.
but she's also free to be a full-time government employee, which I
Yeah.
love.
She's like, I need benefits.
Yeah. She's like,
Magneto
I got my
doesn't
401k
give us
finally
health care.
going. Yeah.
I
I
just
got
like
2 weeks off a year.
she's just bored in meetings, like, oh God, we're talking about the environment again. My God.
Yeah.
And all that happens, and also in the scene we meet Stryker, Senator Kelly / Mystique, and also Lady Deathstrike, Kelly Hu, I believe is her name, or Wu. It's got to be Hugh. Somebody write in and tell me. But I love Lady Deathstrike. I love how these movies. This started in the first one where like there's always this femme fatale that Wolverine usually has to fight, and I like how all three movies has that factor.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get us into. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do in this first fucking act. I think we've already talked about the characters. We know everybody. So let's just go to we established that Stryker is using his mind control thing on Magneto for information about the school, which is also why he went to the president. He's like, look at this school. It's got, weapons. Let's attack. And the president's like, okay.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, here's a
President
satellite picture. They have a jet. And it's like,
Mhm.
so what? So you're gonna attack a school that has a jet on the front
Is
lawn?
it bigger
Big deal.
than my jet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you could always just ask them, like, hey, why do you have this jet?
Hey, knock
Can we
knock. Just wondering for my own personal. Why do you got a big old jet? And they're like,
Yeah.
it comes up from the basketball court. It's like, so what? Big
Under the
deal.
basketball
Let them have it.
Yeah, he was cool with it until then. Basketball?
But,
Wait, these mutants are playing
What?
basketball?
Hold on.
and they'll take breaks from basketball to get a jet out?
Yeah. They're not true
No,
Not on
Americans.
my watch.
not in my America. So get this. Also, I just want to throw it out there, just if anyone is on my wavelength. The guard who is like very abusive to Magneto and is like his main guard, I find that man very attractive. I'm about it.
Okay.
I believe he later went on to be a recurring character on Battlestar Galactica. So say we all. So just throwing it out there. I would say that is a type that I am into. So if anyone wants to get me a gift.
Good to know.
Okay.
Locked
so
in.
Evil Guard. Gotcha.
Honestly, yes. Evil Guard, parentheses, tight pants. It's gotta be that thing.
Okay. Cool. Keep that in mind.
Okay. I have to just move us along to when the girls are girling. My girls, Lady Deathstrike and Mystique, this scene where they're like both trying to sneak around each other when Mystique shows up as Lady Deathstrike, but then Lady Deathstrike shows up and the Mystique turns into the janitor.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just love ladies sneaking around, and that's just what I'm into.
Yeah. Strong.
I mean, I could have used another 10 minutes of that. Of just being like, hey, wait, what? You can't be me. I'm okay. I'll be this other guy. And they just do like a whole little round robin thing. I think that would have been kind of neat.
When Mystique turns to the janitor and he walks past the actual real janitor, like,
yeah.
Dom, if you saw yourself walking past you, would you ask any questions or just kind of let it go like this guy?
I would let it go. I was at Whole Foods once and I saw a guy like right outside that looked exactly like me. And I have a twin and I was like, he's not here. And I just waited inside until he was gone. I was like, I can't deal with this. This motherfucker looks too much like me.
If you get too close, like the time
I don't
space
like it.
continuum
I don't
will
know what was
implode.
going to happen. I don't know if it was a time traveler or just a guy that just happened to look like me, but I was not going to take that risk.
All right. Before we throw this to a break, let's talk about the break-in. The attack on the school for extraordinary. What is the full title? Professor Xavier's School for
Gifted Children.
Gifted Children. Yeah. Chrissy Bruzek.
Gifted Youngsters.
Gifted young. Oh,
Gifted
Xavier's
kids
School
with
for
a
Gifted
Z, backwards.
Youngsters.
God, I
Yeah.
hate the word youngsters. Chrissy Bruzek, if you were in the situation, how would you cope? How would you deal? Walk me through your survival plan.
As a mutant, right?
Yes.
So I would be like one of the higher. I would be one of the like teacher mutants. I'd be like with Storm and with Rogue and with all of them.
Yeah.
So I would gather the children, and because at some point I think they'd try and take them to like an underground thing, and I'm like, no. I would like whatever power I would have. If I would have like a Nightcrawler thing where I'd like, but I'd be able to transport multiple people at once, obviously. So I would just like get all the kids out somewhere, maybe on the other side of the basketball court. And then I thought it was cool that Iceman like puts up like a brick frozen wall.
Yeah.
But it's like, then they can blast through that. I mean, yeah. First initiative, get all the kids out as quickly as possible, get the kids safe, and then come back and kick some ass.
Oof. Like Colossus. Little cameo.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he sleeps shirtless. I think we're all I was like, oh, thank God.
Big towel, drink of water.
Glug.
Big man. Slurp.
Slurp.
Y'all made that sound, right?
Is what?
Y'all made that sound when it came on.
Yeah. Every time I see a man I'm attracted
sound.
to.
Slurp.
Slurp. Whenever there's like a hot, sexy man in front of me, I'm just like, oh, slurp.
I need to do that because I need a better track record.
Get vocal.
Oh, give it a shot. Make direct eye contact. Slurp.
Slurp. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think it's an absolute slay. Dom Johnson, any thoughts on this attack on the school?
It was just like, you have these powers. Granted, you haven't mastered them, but you can still do them. These are just guys with guns. Yo, Iceman, you have the power to make a big old wall of ice. Freeze them all.
Freeze their hands.
I know.
Or freeze every molecule in their body to kill them. If you're in that space,
throw some snowballs.
Do something. Like, I understand, like the little kids can't do nothing because
like that Blinky kid.
Yeah, like whatever his power was, it has to be more than Blinky. Or maybe he was the guy, Cypher.
Let's blink really fast.
Whose power is just to understand languages, which is not battle helpful.
Not at all.
It's cool for like parties and shit.
Wait,
admin tasks.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to know: is there any like X-Men comic where somebody without a very good like fighting mutation wants to be an X-Man?
There is. I forget what it's called, but there's one. I'll look it up and I'll send it to you. But it was it was a one-off X-Men in like the early 2000s or like mid 2000s or something, where his one power was that his power was he could explode, but he could only do it once. And Professor X wouldn't let him in the X-Men. And he's like, no, I want to be an X-Men. And then like he ends up exploding, and it's in a completely unhelpful way. And they're like, well.
And then he dies?
That. Yeah, he's died because he dies if he explodes. So they're like, this isn't a mutant power. This is just.
And he doesn't come back after he explodes?
No, that's his power. He explodes one time.
Interesting. Why did they write that?
And how do you find out that that's your power?
Yeah. Fulfills one plot point.
It's very funny. It was a one-off, but it was
like kind of a
lot of useless X-Men who want to join. There's a guy who his power is when you're not looking at him, you forget about him.
Love that.
So they retconned him into a bunch of old comic books, and they're like, he was there the whole time. And
That's
even
hilarious.
bad guys, you don't look at him, you're like, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
That's how I feel in my regular life. When people don't see me.
Hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
They forget about me.
Yeah.
If I'm not in front of you, if I'm not in constant contact with you, I just think you've abandoned me.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great message to leave our viewers as we head into this break where they won't see us, but we are going to be back and still be there. So listeners, we're going to talk to Chrissy Bruzek about these issues. We're going to hit them hard. And then when we come back, we'll talk about the back half of this movie. Because I'll tell you this, I know we've only talked about the first 30 minutes. Let's see what happens. Podcast 616 will be right back after this break. Welcome, everyone, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I am your host, Damon Royster, and I am inviting you to listen and subscribe to this Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. On Podcast 616, we gather some of today's greatest comedians, writers, and actors to dive deep into all things Marvel, like comic book history and lore, all the interconnected superhero storylines, and of course, who's hot and who's not in the MCU. Honestly, why aren't you listening right now? You have the power to listen to Podcast 616. And as we always say, with great power comes even greater responsibility. Listen and subscribe to Podcast 616 wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month, and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us, and then listen in.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Okay, so the school gets attacked. There's this moment where Stryker shows up and Wolverine's like, Dad?
Yeah.
It's, like they're not father son, but it has that like,
Papa?
are you my father?
Papa? Is that you, my evil Papa?
And I don't know. I love Brian Cox in this movie, like we've been saying, but like he just has this energy when he sees Wolverine. He's like, "Hey, bitch." He's like, "Yeah, I know you, and I know you know me.
I fucked you up. What are you gonna do about it?"
He also has this line of like there's later in the movie when Mystique is pretending to be Wolverine, and Brian Cox just looks at him and he's like, "I know my work." And I was like,
"Yeah,
what does that mean?" Like he just knows Wolverine. Like that's not Wolverine.
Yeah, he's so evil. He just, how could he? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that meeting, because Wolverine has been like searching for this person, like searching for his past. Like that's kind of his whole through line is just like, where did I come from? Who are my mom? Who's my mom? Who's my dad? What was I before? And he finally has some like knowledge of this evil person that created him. And the moment, so I said earlier, Iceman like has this wall of ice, and Wolverine starts walking up to it and putting a hand on it, and then Brian Cox puts his hand on the other side, and is like, "What? Why? No, he's not nice."
Well, I believe there was a moment where like Wolverine is like hand on ice, and Brian Cox does it, but he's just kind of like ugh, ice. Like he's just kind of like testing it.
Yeah.
So like on Wolverine, it's like this emotional hand connection. Brian Cox is like, what is this? Ugh, God,
like,
knock it down.
God,
is this mutant ice?
Yeah,
I won't put it in my drinks.
This disgusting mutant ice.
I can't believe I touched this filth.
I'll drink a hot gin and tonic. Thank you.
Keep it hot. All right, so Bobby, Pyro, Rogue, and Wolverine escape in Cyclops' car. We get a nice little bye moment. That made me laugh that they hated it.
Yes, that was great. Ugh. That was great.
But let's go to Boston. Because we get Storm and Jean locate Kurt Wagner. This is a lovely German moment for those of us who speak German. Not me. Anybody speak German?
Ein Bier bitte.
Okay.
Ich liebe dich.
Sounds legit.
Und Deutschland.
Okay.
Checks out.
Perfect.
Mastered it.
We did
it. This is where I think this is a better movie for Halle Berry Storm than the first one.
Yes.
So I love she's like, oh, he's up in the rafters. Let me get this lightning strike. We meet Nightcrawler. I think this is a perfect Nightcrawler. I think Alan Cummings is a surprising but correct choice. I was very happy with how Nightcrawler turned out in this movie. Anyone else?
I mean, when someone is in full body makeup and prosthetics, and it's just like, I can't get over how cool it looks. I mean, I'm in production in my real life, and like thinking about how long all that took and all the setup and like all the stuff that they had to do to figure out his costume and everything, and like his fake teeth are like pointy shark teeth, and it's like, how do you talk with it?
The hands
Yeah.
are like,
Yeah, and like his tail, I'm just like, oh, like I want to see behind the scenes of like how they did all that. But yeah, his character, we said we would come back to it in the beginning. He's like under mind control and he's attacking people. And then you find out he's he's so sweet, and he's like,
sweet.
I did not mean to hurt anybody. I didn't want to. I was like, and I'm just trying to do what the Lord is telling me to do and help. And he's just like, he's just a nice guy.
Yeah. And amazing.
He
I
just
think
looks
I'm
so
finally.
scary.
I think I'm finally understanding German. What you said. What you said didn't make
You
complete
understood
sense.
that?
I
Yeah,
understood
that was
everything
all
you
in
said.
German.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's been talking German this whole time.
What?
Wow. New X-Men superpower. You can understand German.
Wow. I don't think you could join the team, but pretty cool. Yeah, so that's Nightcrawler. Dom, thank you so much for showing up in complete Nightcrawler makeup for this recording.
Indeed.
You look great.
Let's hop over to our other blue lady. This is Mystique. This is also why I love that guard, because we kind of see his butt. Dom Johnson, have you ever been in the situation where a woman will just walk up to you and just give you a beer? No questions asked?
In my younger days, in my punk rock days, yeah. And I'd be like, I don't know you. I don't, and I'd be like, I got a beer. Thank you. Like if I'm at a bar, I'm not taking some beer from some random person at a dive bar. No, that's how you end up butt naked in the bathroom with Mystique fucking you up.
Yeah.
And then you already got fucked up at work. I'm punk rocking at the dive bar, trying to mind my business, listen to some The Damned or something on the jukebox, because that's all they got. Old fucking early 80s punk. So here I am. No, ma'am, you are very cute, but we don't need to do this.
Cute.
Drink your own beer.
Cute.
Yeah.
So this is where we see Rebecca Romaine as herself, like for the first time. I don't know if we saw it in the first movie. And
what if that's not herself though? She can change into anybody. What if that's just who she chose? And really, she's not that hot.
Okay, disagree completely. Rebecca Romaine is such a fox.
No, Rebecca Romaine is
hot.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what if that's not her real?
You mean
body?
Mystique?
Yeah. I
see. Oh, yeah. I mean,
could be. Whoever that person is so fucking hot. and he's just like, oh, I never have a woman like you, like ever like want to be with a guy like me. And she's just he's like, you're aggressive. And she's like, yeah. I'm like,
and you should know that something's up.
Yeah.
If this has never happened to you, nah, not me. There's mutants afoot.
Yeah, you're like the security guard for like the worst mutant of all time. Like, what most wanted mutant ever.
Yeah, don't you have some kind of like notion that you should be watching out for the bad ones? And
oh my god, not to get so into the minutia, but remember when she was like, "Oh, Velcro, nice." He has Velcro pants.
Yeah,
because Magneto, right? Magneto. Okay.
Oh,
that makes
sense.
sense.
I thought it was for easy access, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, two things can be true. All right. So she injects him with some iron. Let's go right to the too much iron in your blood. Too much iron in your blood
makes
too
you
much
shit.
Iron in your blood.
I just want to say that.
Too much iron in your blood.
Too much
iron
in your blood.
Too much iron in the blood. Chrissy, sorry, you were saying something.
Oh, too much iron makes you shit.
Oh,
how do I know that? You ask. How do I know? Well, years ago, I've been on birth control for a long time, and there was one time that I got my prescription refilled, and I was taking it, and my stomach was so upset in knots, and I just kept shitting. And I was like, what is this? Something's wrong. The only thing that changed is my birth control pills. So it turned out they ended up giving me one that had like too much iron in it for some reason. Oh, wow. And my body said, no. So, and then I got switched back. But so that's just my body. I don't know if that's anybody else, but that's how I know.
Probably Colossus's body.
Maybe.
Probably Colossus's body.
Sabretooth, Wolverine, and Deathstrike. All the adamantium people.
Adamantium.
You probably shit a lot.
Chrissy, thank you for sharing your truth.
You're welcome. Fact.
This guard is horribly murdered in a beautiful way of just the iron getting pulled out of him. Magneto escapes. Also, we forgot to talk about the scene where they capture Professor X and Cyclops, and that's where Lady Deathstrike first strikes. But we have to go now to the scene. No. we the podcast as a storytelling podcast.
Forward.
We have to go to the scene where Bobby has to come out to what I call in my notes Lorelai Gilmore. This mom, I was like, this is Gilmore Girls.
God. Well, she goes, have you ever tried not being a mutant? I was like,
whoa, bitch. Mom, that's offensive.
Come on.
I wish Bobby said that. I wish Bobby had a personality to respond to that.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, my parents don't know.
Like, I love Shawn Ashmore. He is Jake from Animorphs. He's great.
Yes.
Love him. But like, I just wanted more from Bobby. I wanted more from my Iceman. I wanted the Iceman to cometh. Okay, so Bobby House. But wouldn't you know it? Ronnie, little brother Ronnie, is a little bitch, little shit bitch, calling up the cops and blowing up everyone's spot. I fucking hate Ronnie. I hate this family. I hate the Drakes.
Just a fucking hater.
Yeah,
like, just because your bitch ass didn't get no powers,
right?
You stuck doing math homework. Meanwhile, Bobby is vibing with a hot girl, a cool best friend.
Mm-hmm. Hot girl he can't touch because she's too hot.
But he don't know
Harry
that.
best friend, which we all have. We all have one of those.
Mm-hmm. Man, fucking Ronnie being like Aunt Petunia from the final Harry Potter book.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're so right.
Ugh, trash. Trash ass Ronnie. God, I hate Ronnie. Ugh. Real quick, favorite scene in the movie. Honestly, my favorite scene in the whole movie is the scene with Storm and Nightcrawler in the jet, of like this conversation of like anger versus faith and like what protects you more.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Poignant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're kind of like, oh, is X-Men getting like moral, like faith? Like, what are we getting into here? But I feel like it's kind of more about like what they talk about through the whole series is like the ethics of being a mutant and like your responsibility, you know, with these powers that you have.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of glib, talking over the coming out scene, but like, I like how this movie is like a road trip movie where like there's a destination, they're on the run, but we're also taking time to talk about this, this status of mutant culture, which, we can kind of like fill in the blank for whatever diverse class you want to fill in there. So I appreciate scenes like that where it's like we're going to take a minute to talk about feelings and emotions, and then if you don't like that, here's some fire. Yeah, here's some cop cars blowing up.
When did X-Men go woke?
Yeah, keep it. Just blow up cop cars. That's all I'm here to see.
I was very excited to see those cops get fucked up.
Yeah, where the two cops are in the car and then Pyro sets the car on fire and the cops are just like stuck in the car.
Yeah, I was all for it. Like, I want a director's cut of that. Just an extended scene.
Like, burn.
Like, he just stays back. It was like, all right, you guys go do what y'all gonna do. I'm gonna fuck these cops up some more. Yeah.
Pyro says ACAB. Then, but Rogue is very Blue Lives Matter, and she's like, stop it. And she, steals his power, calms the fire down. And then before we can address that mania, the jet shows up, they hop on it, they're gone. But then the jump on it. But this shit just won't stop, because then the fucking military, the Air Force chases after them.
Yeah.
Chrissy Bruzek.
The I forgot about that. That's like such a, but I guess because I'm like thinking ahead, I was like, what was the point of that? But it's to get them to crash and then meet Magneto in the woods. But you're like, who are these jets coming up? They're like, lower your altitude or whatever, lower your altitude.
Yeah,
and they're all like,
the shot of the pilot go like, she like,
yeah. And then I love that
down.
they're just like, we're gonna pretend you can't see us. Also, because at some, I was just like, just use your invisible jet thing, which they do use later. I was like, why did they use it in that moment? Come on.
Well, I mean, I think they didn't use it, but like they should have been, but they were already caught.
Or just shoot them out of the sky. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, because they're trying to like. That's the whole thing. The X-Men, they don't kill people, even though the
See,
people they protect also want them dead. That's the conflict.
that's why I was an X-Force guy when I was a kid. They didn't give a F about nothing.
They did give an X.
And that's why this is your podcast. This is the guy.
We get some tornadoes thrown out there. I call this this is a Helen Hunt special with all these twisters.
Oh, 2 in a row.
Tornado Alley in the sky.
Wolverine
And
was
you're
like, Storm, give him the Helen Hunt special.
I'm always thinking of what the regular people on the ground are thinking is going on. They're like, why are there? I thought tornadoes touched the ground. There are just like 20 tornadoes in the middle of the sky right now, you know?
Also, that for the fighter pilots, it's like they're just like, okay, tornadoes, let's just keep going. Like, I would go home. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, shoot down this plane. Like, okay, whoa, 7 tornadoes? No.
Yeah.
This
And
is
like
X-Men stuff.
when
I'm out.
Pyro is like destroying all the cop cars and stuff, as a neighbor, I'd come out and be like, what is going on? There's
Yeah.
fireballs flying through the sky?
Right.
What is happening? What's happened to my neighborhood?
That's so funny.
This
It's like,
neighborhood is going downhill quickly.
isn't there's a podcast around there somewhere where it's like my neighbors are dead, and it's a podcast, but it's like it's like a improvised podcast where you play a neighbor in a horror movie who did get killed.
I love that.
I feel like could be applicable for this movie as well.
Yeah.
Like people who
that's
live next
just
to
like-
the Drakes.
Just like a good character, like neighbor that didn't get murdered.
Yeah.
I saw the alien.
Yeah.
I looked at it. It didn't come over here. I don't know what they did. I mind my business.
He didn't touch me. He didn't touch me. We're actually kind of cool. We had an unspoken moment where we were on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. The plane, and also this is a moment for Jean Grey. She like takes out a missile. Her Phoenix powers rising. Dare I say the Phoenix is rising. She can't get them all. They get hit by a missile. Rogue couldn't figure out her fucking seatbelt. I'm just like, Rogue's more of a burden.
What is
than
Rogue
anything.
doing? Rogue is really like, she's like, there's a herd of cattle and she's the little baby one whose leg is broken and they're just trying to keep up. It's like, Rogue, just let her go.
And you can't pick her up because then she'll suck away your life force.
Yeah.
So, and also I know we're strapped for time, but I want to say for the missiles that the Air Force shoots at the X-Men plane, Jean is able to take out one of them, but she isn't able to take out the second one. And so this kind of starts like, she's like, okay, this is like a high level thing that I fucked up. And I'm the one who like, almost killed us. So she's starting to get in her head where she's like, oh no, like this is my fault. Like I could have killed everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to eat away at her.
Miss Gray.
Yeah.
You just call her Sister Meredith. We land safely.
Just got it.
Magneto. Magneto lands the
R.I.P.
plane.
Danny Duquette.
Denny.
Oh.
I think it's almost been 20 years. He lands the plane, and this is where I was like, I remember when I first watched this movie in theater, I was like, oh, united. We're all together. So the Brotherhood of Evil, which is really just 2 people, teams up with the X-Men. We get what the plan is. Stryker is going to get Professor X to kill all the mutants with his homemade Cerebro. We mind read Nightcrawler, find out that he's at Alkaline Lake, throw some shade at Wolverine. Just want to yada that because I just want to talk about this scene. This Wolverine, Jean Grey, Mystique scene. What? Okay, I'm seeing a heart from Chrissy Bruzek. Chrissy, how are you feeling?
Okay, first of all, I want to see Wolverine and Mystique as Mystique bang it out. Like, do I need to write erotic fan fiction? Because I would watch that so hard and over again.
Hugh Jackman Wolverine or like
Hugh
regular
Jackman
5'3" Wolverine?
No, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is absolutely jacked man. I've been wanting to say that this whole time. Oh man. And then the first movie you see him with his shirt off more, and in this movie not so much. And I'm like, they really withheld a lot of the Wolverine sexiness. But yeah, that scene is so interesting because Jean Grey comes into Wolverine's tent and is like, oh, let's do this. And Wolverine's like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And then he sees a scar on Jean Grey that is actually belongs to Mystique. And so then she's cycling through like all these women that she thinks he wants.
Including
and I'm like,
Rogue.
Wolverine, including Rogue. I'm like, Oh, and then does she become Striker? No, I think that's another time.
Yeah. No,
No, is it that time?
It is that time.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you want? And then she turns to Striker. What do you really want?
She's
And I was
so
like,
bad.
that's what I want to see.
She's so bad. I love that she just fucks with people. And no shame about it. That's a kind of character that I like to see women written as, because they're always written as like people pleasers, always doing, not always, but doing the right thing and having like a moral compass. I was like, no, I like to see the bad bitches.
We like to see the bad, and I think X2's got a couple of bad bitches.
Bunch.
I agree.
A good bad bunch.
This was prime Halle Berry.
Oh man.
Peak.
And was Dom or Damon, I'm not sure which one you said, but Storm progressively gets better throughout the movies. The first movie, she has like no lines, and she has this like interesting affectation in her voice because she does kind of have something in the animated series. And then by the third movie, she's just like talking like Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Like so much.
It's like, look, if you can't do the accent, it's not trying. just be you, Halle Berry.
I think in the first movie they were like, yeah, she's from Africa, so have like some kind of an accent, and it just wasn't there. And then for the second one and on, they were like, we'll just drop it.
Yeah, I think it's fine. No one will know.
She's assimilated. So we get that scene. Let's go right into we're storming the base. Also, there's like all this like psychedelic things happening with Professor X, with like this like girl with 2 different colored eyes who's like, take me to Cerebro. And can we kill all the mutants?
The whole Jason Stryker thing. The kid. Yeah. So because William Stryker like fucked up and did all these crazy experiments on his mutant son.
Yeah.
So then they're in Cerebro and Patrick Stewart's like, they're telling him to kill all the mutants, all of them. Kill all of them.
Yes. You got it. If you're going to do a summer blockbuster, you got to have creepy little girl.
I won't see a summer blockbuster without one.
No,
you won't. Creepy Little Girl summerblockbuster.com just to check every movie I see.
Okay, so the X-Men show up in the base. Let's try and like hit all these fights. Dom Johnson, talk to me about Wolverine versus Lady Deathstrike. Was it everything you hoped it would be?
If I wasn't such a huge like Wolverine nerd growing up, it would have been, because I think the fight was pretty cool. But I'm like, this should have been fucking 15 minutes. This is Wolverine and Deathstrike, baby. 2 of the best fighters in all of X-Men lore. But then I was like, all right, I guess they're not making the movie for me. They're not making the movie for like the comic book nerd.
I mean, Wolverine does get like 3 movies later.
I get it, but I was very excited to see Deathstrike, and I feel like they treated her like the lowest level of fan service. Like, here's somebody that you guys will get, but you're not gonna make her like cool or anything. But I liked it. Out of that context, I think it was a cool fight for like an early 2000s action movie, I guess.
Yeah, I liked how she was very. This is going to be a Guardians reference. Very Mantis-like in her fighting style. Like she just was very like when she was like stabbed by him, she just like took his arms, like put her legs around and kind of like pushed herself off. Are you seeing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
The zoom. Like,
yeah.
So
it was fucking awesome.
And also they should have known each other. They because they were dating a long time ago, back in years and years and years ago. And they didn't even bring that up. So I'm sitting in the theater like, you motherfuckers. Poor shit.
That makes sense where you're like looking for something more in that fight. Cause like, I mean, obviously they don't.
There's like history between them in the comics, but she's just a random bad guy in the movie. Man. I mean, knowing that makes the fight so much hotter.
Yeah.
Is there a theme, Chrissy, where you like hot superheroes fighting? I don't know. You figure it out.
I think that's a Pornhub option. Just
have I searched
type in superheroes. I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Don't look at my browser history. I love the fight between them because it's like 2 people who are matched for each other. And man, and when she's like holding him down and like whatever great and just being like like over and over and over again, you're like, oh my God. And then the end when he fills her with the hot liquid
adamantium
metal. Yeah. Oh my God. And there's this like moment where she's like looking towards the sky and all of a sudden the music just goes, like angelic, and then the
Yeah.
liquid metal comes out of her eyes, and then she falls in the tank, and it's just boom, like that thud,
The
man.
thud.
That was
It's like
pretty
such
good.
a great like ending to that fight.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so fucking cool. And like, also a shout out. I don't want to talk about who the director is, but I would say there are lots of great visual cues that do a lot of storytelling for you. Like that fight with Lady Deathstrike and Wolverine of like just the, you see them getting clawed and you see them both heal. It's like, oh, they're matched, shot for shot. And like, the Blinky kid, like we just watch him blink and like we see the TV through his glasses and it like lets you know like, oh, his blinking controls the TV. And there's like
that Blinky kid, yeah.
yeah. And like when Mystique slides the beer over to the guard and we see under the table that the pills are at the bottom of the pint. It's just such great time management with storytelling. And I think it's why this movie works, because you get a lot in like with as we go into Jean Grey, like we see the little fire in her eyes, like when she's fighting Cyclops and she's like pushing back his ray beams with her powers.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Okay, Lady Deathstrike, she dead. Then Magneto and Mystique, because they're duplicitous, flip the script, and instead of they like stop Jason from killing all the mutants, but then Mystique turns into Stryker and is like, yeah, JK, kill all the humans. Jason's like, whatever you say, Dad. So now it's like now we have to save the humans who were just trying to kill us, which is crazy for X-Men. And then also I just love that Magneto and Mystique are just like, we're gonna leave, and they take the helicopter and they steal Pyro, who's now their new buddy.
Yeah, because he was the one cool one in the whole movie. He's like, this guy's fucking cool. What are you doing later? You want to come hang out?
At this point, Wolverine has found Stryker. Or wait, is that what happened? Because Stryker, like, Mystique and Magneto leave, but like Stryker's like strapped to the helicopter or something.
Yeah, so they find him trying to escape. He's trying to escape in the helicopter. Stryker is, but then the kill all humans thing stops him. And then I think we can assume that Magneto put him up against a wall with chains, because that's how Wolverine finds him later.
Right.
And Wolverine just leaves him there. Nightcrawler has a big hero moment, teleports Storm into the Cerebro without seeing it first. Storm makes it so cold. I have to. Oh, it's so cold.
It's frigid in here.
It's so cold in there. It stops.
Yeah.
It's. I can't even imagine how cold it is. So cold. They get Professor X. They get out of there. They're like, "Peace, Jason." Jason and William Stryker are just like left to drown basically and be crushed by everything.
William Stryker, he has a line that he says to Wolverine, because they're kind of arguing and stuff, and Stryker goes, "You're an animal then, you're an animal now. I just gave you claws." And it's like, oh, you got him. That's a good line.
But also he was born with the claws, so it took me out of the movie.
Oh my god.
Is that true, or is that just something the origin movie?
Yeah, there's a comic book series. He loses his adamantium for like 2 or 3 years in the 90s, and that's when you figure out that his claws were bonded to his already bone claws, and he used his bone claws for a while.
When he was a baby?
He always had those claws.
He had bone claws.
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
Like, nah, bro, you didn't give me these claws. You just made them metal. Get out of here.
I always had claws. I'm the Wolverine.
But in this movie, this is the reality of this movie, and so we accept the reality.
Not me. I complained about it.
Good lord. Good lord.
All right. Well, we got to get to just 2 more scenes. Jean's sacrifice. How do we feel? Any thoughts? I'm open for any thoughts. Miss Jean Grey, she had to do it because in a superhero movie, someone's got to.
Yeah, and it's so funny because they're like, okay, the plane isn't starting, and then the flood is coming because the dam is gonna explode, and then this scene felt like it was like 10 minutes long, where Jean's looking back and forth, And she's like, what should I do? Do I need to do something? And then everyone is like in a line in front of like the controls of the plane. And they're all just like, try this one. Oh, no, try this. Maybe flip this. Maybe flip this. And I was like, this is so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, we get it. You can't start the plane. Like, move on. So then, yeah. And then Jean leaves. Why did she have to be on the ground? Why couldn't she have done it from the plane? Why did she have to be on the ground and stop the water and also lift up the plane? I'm like, why couldn't she do that from the plane? I mean, obviously it wouldn't be as dramatic, and then it couldn't move
she
forward,
could have.
but
I mean,
like, why?
Maybe she was worried she's so powerful she would break the plane from the inside if she was doing all that. So she needed just a little bit of space. So she just like crack the earth with her Phoenix power.
Could be.
Oh, boy. Phoenix.
I mean,
I just kept thinking of Harry Potter.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Order of the
Fox the
Oh
Phoenix.
yeah, all those airplanes in Harry Potter. All the jets.
Jean makes the
Wizard
big
jets.
sacrifice play. I'll have more to say about this in the Last Stand movie, but I'll say for this looks good to me. I like this. This seems like it's leading to something I would want to see. And tune in next week to see my second thoughts.
Ooh.
Okay, final scene. We're back in the Oval Office. My girl Jackie hands the president a glass of water, and I'm just like, she made
Jackie's
it.
back. She survived.
And that's when everybody just gets up and they're like fucking clapping in a
Let's
crowd.
go, Jackie!
Woohoo, Jackie!
Give that chief of staff, what do we go? Commander-in-chief. Get the commander-in-chief his water.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go on live TV and basically say like mutants are terrible, kill them on sight, which is crazy to me in the world we live in now. How close it is to truth.
Mm-hmm.
We get another callback of Professor X freezing everybody in the Oval Office. Storm, truly for no reason. She didn't really need to. There didn't need to be a storm.
Yeah.
Everybody's already frozen.
She's like, y'all don't let me do shit. I gotta do my
Let me do something the whole way over there.
Let me help.
It's like, wait, I'll make a storm. And they're like, no, we don't really need.
We don't need
no,
a storm.
Please. It's gonna look
we never
so
let
cool.
her do anything. Just let her make a fucking storm, then we don't have to. We won't have to do it again for a while. Okay, guys, just give her this one. It's the president. Okay.
It's the president. You know, we gotta. How else is he gonna know we're mutants if we don't do something mutant-like?
Let's scare him even more. Frozen and a storm inside of a room.
And we're all getting teleported by the man who tried to kill him.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler teleported everybody in. They basically are like, hey, we're chill if you're chill. Like, we're like, they're good mutants, they're bad mutants. We'll be watching. It's really cool. I do like this scene.
Watching. Yeah.
And even though I had my issues with Rogue, I love that Rogue and Bobby are now in their X-Men suits and they're like on the team. Then Presidents go again, clowns, mimes, we're in the scene. We're back to normal. The president's like, maybe I should change what I'm going to say. And that's pretty much the movie. I mean, there's a final scene with Wolverine, Cyclops, and Professor X. And then Professor X, he hears something. He hears something's different.
He's getting some kind of, cerebral transmission.
Yeah, because, he's powerful. And then we head back to Alkaline Lake. Famke Janssen does the outro, much like Grey's Anatomy. We have the outro thoughts from Miss Dr. Grey. And we see a little glimpse of a phoenix in the water of Alkaline Lake.
In the water. God, I love that. I love that.
Yes. It's very good.
Here's what's to come.
What's to come is a great way to transition into our final segment for this episode. Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Oh.
Did you think we were going to do it?
Who's coming? Who's coming?
This is our favorite segment of This Week and Every Week. Fuck, Marry, Kill. On the docket for X2 X-Men United, we got Nightcrawler. We got Lady Deathstrike. And we also got William Stryker. Who are we going to fuck, marry, and or kill? I will go first, give my guests time to think. Here's what it's going to be. I'm so sorry. I think she's amazing. I think she's great. But just looking at the playing field, I have to kill Lady Deathstrike. I'm going to let Wolverine do it. And ideally, she's just still in that tank.
Yeah.
Chilling. I mean, man, if it was a different docket, she'd be up there. But I got to get rid of her because I'm going to fuck William Stryker.
Oh,
I love a problematic man. Um, and maybe that's why things have been working out for me.
Well.
You know,
Reveal.
that's not what we're here for. We're here to fuck. And I don't know. Logan Roy, like this is I wouldn't fuck Logan Roy, but I would fuck William Stryker. He's a little bit younger. Logan Roy's too delicate. Things are loose.
Heart conditions.
And heart conditions. And for my Mary, I'm gonna marry Nightcrawler. Because I think I don't know. He was really working for me in this. I usually don't go for blue people, but
Okay.
Whoa,
Wow.
yikes.
So you just don't like blue people then?
Yeah, I think William Stryker was right. Mutants make me uncomfortable. So I'm not. But I like Nightcrawler. I love Nightcrawler. I love Kurt Wagner. And we would go to the circus together. That's what we would do. Chrissy Bruzek, who are you fucking marrying and or killing?
So I would kill Stryker. I have such a visceral hatred for this man because he's trying to kill the people that I love, which are mutants. And it's too much. There's too much going on with him. He's got a lot of baggage. He needs to be gone. So kill. I would fuck Lady Deathstrike crazily. That woman, and she's nimble and she's strong. And she's so hot. I'd be into that. Definitely. And she could protect me. And then I would marry Nightcrawler in an instant. He's so sweet. And we also assume that you, or not assume, but you would hope that you fuck the person you marry. Because you would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope, So man, we would be like transporting and fucking all over the place, That'd be so cool. Right?
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. I love that. Yes.
Yeah. We're like, oh, we're in my bed. Nope. We're on the ceiling. We're on top of the roof. We're on top of the Eiffel Tower. Like beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. It'd be so that. Yeah. Instantly. He'd be a great partner.
I love it.
Great teammate.
A great teammate.
A great teammate in romance.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. Dom Johnson.
I would kill Stryker. Because basically Stryker's a Nazi. Even if Stryker was hot, a hot Nazi's still a Nazi. So I gotta look. There's some hot ones out there, but I can't fuck with them. You know what I mean? Once they show that they want to kill mutants and whatnot, I'd be like, all right, I gotta kill you, but like in a cool way. I'll get Pyro to help me kill him. Set him on fire, and then Iceman could take him off of fire, and we just keep doing that. Torture William Stryker. I would fuck Nightcrawler because I'm like, Nightcrawler's kind of a nerd. I couldn't imagine being around that motherfucker for too long. So I'd be like, let's just call it what it is. Let's drink a couple beers, bang it out, and let's be done. You trying to fuck? I'm trying to fuck. Let's do this. And I would marry Deathstrike because 1, she's super hot. 2, she got capital connections. If I want to go to Japan, hang out with Silver Samurai, boom, we can.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? If I want to go to hang out with Alpha Flight up in Canada, we can do that. Lady Deathstrike got them kind of connections, you know what I mean? So, and also like to Chrissy's point, you're still going to be having sex, you know what I mean? So you could jet set and travel. And I could talk shit at the bar and be like, Lady Deathstrike is gonna fuck him up.
Yeah,
I'm protected.
Yeah.
Just make sure I would get her gloves. Nah,
not me though. Nah.
And with that, listeners, we've got to go. Thank you all so much for being here. Chrissy Bruzek, what are some social media plugs you would like to put out there? This episode is going to come out in the middle of January. So, middle of June.
I was like, wow, you really got him backed up here. You're really planning ahead. Middle of June. You can follow me at Chrissy Brew on Instagram, ChrissysYBRU. Then I'm at Chrissy Bruzek on TikTok. My Twitter's lame. And I am a new writer on UCB's Quick and Funny musical team. And then our first show, I think, will be end of June. I think like June 25th, around there. So that'll be rad.
Hell yes. Congrats.
Thank you.
Dom Johnson, where can we find you?
I am the Dom Johnson on the internets. Also have a country music podcast called Country Brothers that I do with my brother. This shit is rad. Listen to that at Country Brothers Pod. I'm on a Pack Theater sketch team called Dreamboat. We're super funny. Chrissy used to be on it. Damon used to direct us until we got too hot, and they were like, "This team is too sexy," and we had to kind of get some people out of there. But
yeah, well,
I mean, super sexy.
You had to let go of the hottest people.
Yeah,
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that.
This is not the first time that's happened to me. Sometimes you just get too
They were
hot.
threatened. They were threatened by us.
What do I say? I say this. This is Podcast 616. You can follow us on Instagram at Podcast 616. That Podcast 616 P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcasts, the network that allows me to cover X-Men movies all summer long. Thank you. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast?
I'll give you guys an A+.
Yeah!
Michael!
Thank you,
You did
Michael.
Yeah.
You did it.
I feel validated.
Oh my God, you should feel validated. We're all validated. We're X-validated because we're all X-Men. God, we're running out of time. I just want to say again, the best superpower to have is the ability to run through walls. I love Kitty Pryde Shadow Cat.
I would say it's friendship.
Go to hell.
I'm making a stink face.
This is Podcast 616.
Stinky.
We'll be back next week with X-Men The Last Stand. And until then, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.